resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this, but in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who fought here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is rather for us, the living, to be dedicated here to the great work which they who struggled here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not perish from the earth. One winter, my granddad moved in with us. I guess he was in between jails, as old as the bank in the middle of town, soft as a sack of nails. He'd sit and drink beer in the living room, rant about taxes and war. He'd yell and he'd curse and he'd drink and complain, bang his cane on the floor. Then he'd stop and say, God bless America, and he'd curse and he'd yell some more. Well, he ground us all down by Memorial Day. Mama made Dad throw him out, and I asked as he packed up his duffel bag what all of the noise was about. He gathered himself for a minute, as Perry Mason might do. He said, how many people are there in this world who would give up their lives for you? Well, I thought as hard as a 10-year-old can, and I only came up with 2. Well, somehow we found us an automobile, and we drove through the Maryland sun, passed by Bethesda at 12:15, crossed the Potomac at 1. We ended our journey in Arlington, where Robert E. Lee used to stand, and the National Graveyard is up on a hill, watching over George Washington's land. Well, I'd never seen so many tombstones, so I took my grandfather's hand. We saw soldiers with guns and one with a bugle and a family lost in pain. A folded flag in a young woman's arms, you could tell she would never be the same. Granddad said there were 400,000 here, row after row after row, each of them willing to die for a 10-year-old boy he would never even know. He said, war is the stupidest thing in the world, but it sometimes has to be done. When you bring the bodies back home at the end, you can't always tell who's won. He asked about all of the yelling, you're wondering about all the beer. I'm reaching the end of a long, hard life, and my friends are all in here. Then he climbed to the seat of a little stone bench, and he smoothed his ragged gray hair. He turned to his brothers and sisters in arms, just like he'd invited them there. Then he gathered himself, and he opened his mouth, and he blistered the sanctified air. I won't pay for the president's limousine, or the goddamn vice president's beer. When I pay my taxes on April 15th, every goddamn penny goes here. You can boil the Congress in oil, and the whole blessed country would cheer. Do what I want with the taxes I pay, and all of my money goes here. Well, that was a really long time ago. The old guy eventually passed. He's there with his buddies in Arlington. Thank God he's quiet at last. I visit him every Memorial Day, and I take my whole family there. We gather ourselves by his tombstone, and we look like a family in prayer. Then, like one-legged soldiers with beer in our bellies, we blister the sanctified air. I won't pay for the president's limousine, the goddamn vice president's beer. When I pay my taxes on April 15th, every goddamn penny goes here. The Democrats and the Republicans, they lie to us year after year. I say screw them all down to the last sorry bastard. Ignorant, self-absorbed criminal blowhards. Life in a cesspool would be too damn good for them. But I'm gonna stop now before I get angry. Pay my respects to the man and his comrades, with expletives, outrage, and beer. I do what I want with the taxes I pay, and all of my money goes here. All of my money goes here. Every sacred penny goes here.